The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools. If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Good afternoon, everybody. What's going on? Happy Monday. I know it's Monday. It's hard to say happy and Monday
I
like
think
together.
The question here is, Eric, are you okay? I mean, you just came back from the tropical islands of San Diego, back to
tropical islands,
back to what we call HE double hockey sticks, and that would be the wintry wonderlands of Cache Valley, where it's
actually been pretty mild,
20 degrees.
It was foggy when I got here, when I got back, but it cleared off. It's been pretty mild. It's not bad. I mean, it was better in San Diego, not going to lie. Much prefer to be there right now than
you just looked like
sitting across the table.
I mean, and then you come back to where your roof pretty much collapsed on your desk for about a whole week.
Yeah.
Consistently. And I was going to take photos. Well, actually, I did take photos, and then Rod, Mr. Eeyore, tells me I can't send them to you because you're on vacation. That made me feel bad about it. I was like, Rod, you could write a story on this and post the photos, and Eric could see it. He wasn't thrilled about that idea either.
That's right. There was another employee who sent me pictures. I saw what was going on before I arrived. It was like some leak in the roof, and it was coming down the side of the roof. Tiles are.
The best part
coming apart.
The best part is walking into the building today and seeing you stuck in the corner of a cubicle.
Yeah, I got moved. The
temp got moved.
It threw me off hard today.
Oh, I know. I come over and I'm like, hey, I got Craig Smith audio, and you kind of stare at me blank, like, okay, well, what time is it? And I'm like, it's 5 minutes.
5 minutes to showtime.
Oh, I got to get going. We have a show. Jeez, Eric, welcome back, man. Yeah, this isn't San Diego, man. You're in the real world. You're in my world now.
If I'm in your world, then that's frightening.
Eric, it's one of those days where we're glad to have a 2-hour show. We have a loaded amount to talk about. Well, we are going to get to Utah State Bull game.
Big weekend.
Yeah, we're going to get to all the Bull stuff. We're going to get to that in the second hour because I've had listeners, and I know you've had listeners too, say, hey, we tuned in at 5 o'clock and we missed everything. So we're going to actually throw all that stuff into the 5 o'clock hour so that all our 5 o'clock hour listeners who join our 4 o'clock listener group can all listen at the same time to one thing, and it'll be grandiose.
It's one of the rules of radio. They tell you that most people listen in 10 to 15-minute segments.
Mm-hmm.
And so sadly, there are some people in our building who refuse to believe that. And they think that whenever they turn on the microphone, the full audience is there, and they stay with them until they turn the microphone off. That just simply is not the case. So we'll touch on some things here in this hour, but if you have to step away, you can join us again in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll go a little bit deeper on some of the things about Utah State and the bowl that they're going to. Gary Anderson had a press conference over the weekend about it, so we'll hear that in its entirety. Hear his thoughts about what he knows about Kent State, kind of scheduling for this week and next, preparing for the bowl. So, and how that kind of factors into the early signing period and recruiting, which is going on right now. So, Utah State basketball, a couple of conference victories. And yet, winning 2 games knocks them out of the top 25. Unbelievable what's going on there with the top 25 and Utah State. The lack of respect is just shocking. And then there's some reports about Jordan Love, about his future, and it's getting some interesting reactions. And so I wanted to get some of your perspectives and your reactions to that as well. But the bowl picture is now set. We know Utah State's going to the Frisco Bowl. That's the easiest way to say it. This smoothie something,
Tropical smoothie Frisco Bowl.
It's not just tropical. There's another word with it.
Oh my gosh! It is the no, yeah, it's the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl.
There it is, cafe. Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. So, first question is, where in the world is Frisco? It's not San Francisco.
No, which we would all be thrilled about.
Frisco is just outside of Dallas?
Just on the fringe of Dallas, about 30 minutes from downtown Dallas, Texas.
So, easy to get to.
Yes.
Fly into Dallas, Fort Worth.
Yes.
Short charter bus.
Yep.
And you're there.
Yep.
But the next question is, so now we know geographically where Frisco, Texas is. What's the stadium? Are they playing in a college football stadium?
So it's where
Are they playing in an NFL stadium?
It's where FC Dallas plays, I believe.
So the answer is no to both of those.
It's a stadium that holds 17,000.
It's a small soccer stadium.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a stadium smaller than where Utah State plays.
Yeah.
And Utah State plays in a small Division I arena.
Correct. And we get Kent State. Kent State Flash? By the way, Julian Edelman's former college where he played quarterback at.
Golden Flashes.
Yep. Golden Flashes, where they have a golden flash about as often as Utah has a tornado.
What is a golden flash? That a meteorological event?
Yeah, I don't know. Here, go
the logo looks like a bird with like a lightning bolt coming out of its
Does
head.
it really? What is a gold? I mean, couldn't have been the Golden Eagles. What is a golden flash?
So Kent State, they had to win their last 3 games to be bowl eligible, and they were all really close. They beat Buffalo by a field goal. They beat Ball State by a field goal. And they beat Eastern Michigan by 8 points. So their last 3 victories were within 1 score. And they had lost 3 in a row prior to that. They've had a lot of games where they've been close. They've been in a lot of games. Even though some of them they lost, they were pretty competitive in some of those.
Yeah, they've been competitive. Do you remember a few years ago when Utah State played the Akron Zips in a bowl game in, was it Boise? Or was it New Mexico? It was in 16.
That would probably, gosh, was that?
Yeah, it was 2016.
That must have been Boise.
Was it Boise?
It was a MAC team.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Boise. You're right. It was Boise. And Utah State, and Akron had not been to a bowl game since like 1932. And they lost that game. So everyone thought this was going to be a smack 'em around. We're going to run away with this thing by the third or second quarter, and we're going to win. Then all of a sudden they were down. They ended up losing 23-21. And it was and it really was an embarrassing loss for Utah State. When you had to have Akron fly all the way across the country, really little participation from the crowd, very little attendance, and you as Utah State blow it. And so, look, everyone's saying, well, geez, it's Kent State. It's a crappy team, yada, yada, yada. Be careful. Don't let this one come bite you back in the butt.
Right. Utah State's been there before, where they were a team that hadn't been to a bowl for a long time, and they had this momentum behind them, and it was really exciting for the team and the fan base to get to a bowl. And that's kind of the situation that Kent State is in. They have not been regular participants in the postseason. Last time they went to a bowl game was what, 2012? 2013?
Yeah.
So it's been a long time for them, and it's exciting for them to get there. They were 5-3 in their conference, 6-6 overall. So Utah State can't come into this one thinking it's going to be a cakewalk because, yes, they may be better on paper, but Kent State may have a little more excitement for being in the bowl game.
Yeah.
Not to say I don't think Utah State doesn't have excitement to go to a bowl
excited.
game.
These seniors want to go out on a bowl win. This is a chance to be able to do so. Mike, there's one big question I have to this. and we'll bring it up in the next segment. But at the same time, again, Kent State is excited to be there, right? I mean, they're in a bowl game and against a high quality Mountain West opponent. So you're going to be able to, go up against an NFL caliber quarterback, against some really good receivers, and Kent State will be ready to go as well. Now, in the conference call with the media yesterday, Coach Anderson didn't say much about Kent State. I think he's still wanting to do some studying, get to know who Kent State is.
It was early to scout him. I mean, he just got the invite.
Yeah. So, but he'll get the down low and the film on Kent State and go from there. But again, it's a bowl game that we all need to be excited about. Hopefully, you guys can make the trip, and it really does actually work well timing wise, because on the 8th, so they play on the 21st.
They play on the 20th.
On the 20th, sorry.
On the 20th. It's a Friday.
On the 18th, Utah State's at the Toyota Center for men's basketball taking on South Florida. So what you do is you fly to Houston, go watch Utah State men's basketball team dominate South Florida, get in a car, drive 3.5 to 4 hours over to the Frisco Bowl, go watch the Aggies play there, watch them dominate Kent State, and then fly on home.
Fly home Saturday morning.
Yep.
In time to watch Utah State basketball
take on Florida in Miami.
Yeah.
Isn't that a great idea?
It's on one hand, I think that it's great for Utah State that they're heading to a new venue, right? They've never been to the Frisco Bowl. They've been to many of the others that we discussed as opportunities and possibilities where they might go. And this is a new opportunity. They didn't play a game in Texas. It's a great recruiting area. It's a good opportunity for there's players who have families in Texas to participate and show up. And past players, I've been seeing their reactions on social media. They're really excited because it's close to home for them. So it's a great opportunity in that sense. I think it's harder for a large group of fans to get to. Mm-hmm. As opposed to if it was going to be in Boise. But I think that generally, again, this is only 24 hours since this announcement was made.
Sure.
But I think so far the sense is somewhat excitement that it's a new place, it's a new venue, and that they're going to Texas. Kent State, haven't heard anybody really excited about that. But it's an opponent that Utah State should be able to play well against.
Yes,
and the seniors should be able to showcase themselves one final time against a team like Kent State. The flip side to it is, like I said, I think it'll be a little bit harder for a large group of fans to get to. It is a smaller stadium, and it's an opponent that's a little underwhelming. But you know what? Aggies are going bowling, and you take it.
Yeah, and then again, it's 7-5 record, and I know a lot of people were planning on Arizona. I was too. From what I told, I don't know if this is true or not, but from what I had heard, it was a last-minute change. Kind of took everybody off guard. So we accept it. We are happy. The players are excited, right? Players are really excited. So you go out there and you go take care of business, and you go out there and you just compete, on your last game. Go out there, get out there with a bowl win, and on a really high note in your college career, or at least on the season for some. And get ready for next year.
No,
sorry, I'm just looking at. Well, we'll talk about this next segment, but this whole issue, I saw you tweet about it as well. You know what I'm talking about. We'll get into it in a little bit.
That'll be a topic we've already teased, but I know what you're talking about. There's been some discussion about bowl payouts. The Frisco Bowl projected payout is $750,000, which isn't too shabby. It's not as good as it could have been going to Boise, which is cheaper to get to. The thing about bowl payouts, they're somewhat misleading, and I think that people need to be careful when they start getting excited or talking about bowl payouts, because there's a certain amount of that which is dependent upon tickets sold. So each school is given a certain allotment of tickets. And if those tickets sell, then that contributes to your bowl payout.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there were a few years back when Utah State went up to Boise, the team that they were facing, I can't remember if it was the Akron or Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
They couldn't fill their allotment. Utah State had a lot of excitement. Utah State sold their allotment, bought up extras.
Yeah.
And so it was a really good windfall for Utah State because it was cheap to get there and they were able to sell a lot of tickets. But going on the road, traveling to some of these venues, it costs more to get there than the potential payout when it all is said and done with all of the travel expenses, what you're on the hook for tickets. So that's always a reminder that if you're going to buy tickets to any of these bowls, make sure you go through the USU ticket office.
Yes,
because if you go just through the venue, you could be costing opportunities for Utah State.
Yeah, no,
or your favorite school.
That is a great point.
So just keep that in mind.
Hey, by the way, I was doing some research here. So the Kent State used to be known as Kent State Normal College. I'm not even joking. It used to be known as Kent State Normal College. In 1923, Kent State became the home to the Kent State Silver Foxes in honor of the first school president, John McGilvery, who owned a Silver Fox ranch. Just 3 years later, a contest was held to determine Kent State's new mascot. The winner was given a $25 prize. Now, remember, 1923, so 25 is like $2 million. And in
not a bad payout.
1926, the Kent State Golden Flashes were born. The name caught on when Oliver Wolcott, a Kent State football player, told the new name to a local newspaper editor. The Golden Flash originated back in 26, but the symbols to represent the Flash have changed over the years. They've ranged from the Lightning Bolt logos and even to a Golden Retriever, who is named Mac the Flash, and then finally the current Golden Eagle Flash. The Golden Retriever Flash was adopted as the mascot in 1951. 10 years later, it was replaced by a cartoon character named Grog, G-R-O-G. Grog remained the school's mascot until 1972 when the Golden Flasher was adopted. According to the library website, the Golden Flasher was a masked figure who dressed in a blue and gold, who rode in a gold Palomino horse.
Palomino?
Yes, horse. Just 2 seasons later in 1973, the masked figure lost the horse and began sporting a lightning bolt in each hand. He became simply known as Golden Flash. This new mascot only lasted 2 years. In 1985, the athletic department decided to unveil a new mascot during homecoming. They decided the mascot would be a golden eagle to correspond with the Golden Flashes. And students in the Kent Technology and Education Club put about 265 hours of work into constructing a giant egg out of wood, plaster, and fiberglass. They created this nest for the egg to nestle in. It was going to be a big mystery thing, this big mystery egg. And then the egg was presented during halftime at the homecoming game. Hatched to reveal Kent State's new mascot. A live eagle and a handler were brought in for the game. A new logo featuring an eagle with a lightning bolt coming out of its wing, which was created. And Dylan said this is the logo that can still be seen on the Kent State Water Tower. So was that man dressed in like golden spandex? I can only imagine how that went, like him riding on a horse.
I'm glad there's no longer the Golden Flasher.
Oh, man. Dude, that's a great point.
Today's day.
That is solid right there, Eric.
The Golden Flasher. We'll learn more about their team specifically as we get closer, and
we'll have a really good info in the note for you that day too. We'll make sure we get you all the info you need to know on.
So the team Utah State's football team having some practices here this week. And then because of bowl festivities, they'll be traveling early next week.
Yep, they leave next Monday.
And they'll be there a couple of different days. They'll do some festivities. They do some...
Part of it's a charity.
Challenges that they normally do.
Yep.
So anyway, that'll be taking place the tail end of next week. So it's Utah State. So here's the rundown of everything else for the Mountain West Conference. 7 teams going bowling. And that's the most in a couple of years since, 2016?
Mm-hmm.
But so Utah State going to the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. Man, we should go through the whole list of bowl names and try to say them 10 times fast.
Oh, you know what? No. We are going to play a game in the second hour that you will not want to miss.
Oh, boy.
No, you'll love it. You will actually really enjoy this game, Eric.
All right.
I promise you. You'll like
down
it.
With that. Okay. So that game is going to be Friday. That's December 20th. Time here is when it starts. It'll be at 5:30 our time on ESPN2. And so that means KVNU game day coverage will likely begin at 3:30 in the afternoon and go right up until kickoff. And then as soon as the game concludes, as soon as the bowl game is over, back on the air again with KVNU Aggie Call that night. Other teams in the Mountain West that are participating, and that's the first day of the bowl season, if I'm not mistaken, on Friday the 20th. Then a couple of Mountain West teams involved on the 21st. You have San Diego State versus Central Michigan in the New Mexico Bowl, which they don't have a title sponsor. The game's on ESPN. Do you remember that whole story about some guy who duped the New Mexico Bowl officials?
Oh, yeah, dude, with like the building and like they took a photo of it and everything, and they didn't even look inside.
There was nobody inside.
And it was totally blank.
His headquarters.
Yeah, dude.
Big fancy, like,
freaking one of the greatest rigs I've ever seen since the Sacramento Kings.
It's funny. So anyway, San Diego State versus Central Michigan, New Mexico Bowl on the 21st. That'll be at 12 o'clock Mountain Time. The Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl will be on ABC on Saturday the 21st. That'll be at 5:30 our time. Great matchup here. This is one of the great matchups of the bowl season. Number 19, Boise State versus Washington. Great. There's two great teams there, but you also have Chris Peterson going up against his older team.
That's going to be last. Dude, they knew that was coming. They were thrilled about that matchup.
Oh, they're geeked out about that one. That's tickets are going to be a premium there. Vegas has to be super excited about that.
Yeah, that's one of their best matchups in a while.
On Christmas Eve, the SoFi Hawaii Bowl, it'll be Hawaii versus BYU. That is at 3 o'clock Hawaii time. So what is that our time? 7 o'clock?
Yeah, because, back in the day when they...
Mountain?
Yeah, it's a 3-hour difference, isn't it?
I think it was 4.
Is it 4? Because I remember when John Russell used to do the post game for a 10 o'clock game in Hawaii, I think it was either a 6 or 7 o'clock game. Oh, man, that's been a while.
So right now... Yeah, actually, no.
Live...
3-hour difference.
Someone just tweet at us and let us know, will you, please, if you're listening.
It's a 3-hour difference. So it'll be 6 o'clock Mountain Time. So then after Christmas, we go to the Cheez-It Bowl, and that's Air Force versus Washington State. That will be a really interesting matchup, too, I think.
Yeah, by the way, I told somebody this before this was even done, that if a Pac-12 team had to get Air Force, it is going to be a long day for them. Like, good luck trying to stop that squad. You have to deal with an option attack. Oh, I pray for you, Washington State.
That would be because you got a team that
air
airs it out
versus
a team that very rarely
will just use the ground and underground.
So that's at 8:15 p.m. on Friday, December 27th. That'll be on ESPN. Then the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl. That's Wyoming versus Georgia State. That's on New Year's Eve, 2:30 our time on CBS Sports Network. That's Wyoming versus Georgia State. And then on January 3rd, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Nevada versus Ohio. That'll be on ESPN at 1:30 Mountain. So not bad for the Mountain West Conference. You get 7 teams going bowling. You end up in the Cheez-It Bowl. It's a non-affiliate. The Mountain West was kind of an alternate position to go there, but you're going up against a Pac-12 school, so that's a good bowl for the Mountain West to be involved in, and good for Air Force that they get to participate in that.
I wish they would have got a really good bowl, like a really quality. I mean, and Washington State's is an okay opponent, but man, I want to see them against one of the big boys, I'm talking Iowa. I guess Nebraska wouldn't be in there, But Iowa, Minnesota would have been fun to see. Like Minnesota versus Air Force would have been a 2-hour football game. I'm serious.
Nothing to stop the clock.
That would have been amazing.
Ever. So anyway, that's the bowl situation as we know it for the Mountain West. We can mention some of the other big bowls that came down. Where does University of Utah, what happened to them over the weekend and their matchup. Consolation prize for them, but still not a bad place to land.
It's
just really sour. So we'll talk about that. The AP and coaches polls are out for basketball. And
way to go, San Diego State. Oh, and by the way, can we talk about the tweet that San Diego State student section decided to tweet out? Morons.
Yes, we will definitely discuss that. USU versus St. Catherine. Touch more on that more tomorrow if there's much to discuss. But a little bit next hour, we'll hear more from Gary Anderson about the bowl invitation and what's going on with Utah State football for the next 2 weeks for them. So more of that coming up next right here on the Full Court Press.
The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
I just don't want you to cheat.
I won't cheat. I don't even know what this game is. I don't even know what you're talking about. So Utah, we got to mention the University of Utah. We were going to mention BYU. They're going to Hawaii. And actually, I think that's really good for Hawaii. They'll sell a lot of tickets for that game. They don't have to travel. That'll be good for the University of Hawaii.
And you know what's really great about this bowl is that it's an old whack rivalry matchup. Like you think about it back in the day, those teams... Those two squads used to duke it out really hard in Hawaii.
Yes. And BYU loves to recruit in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of attention on the islands for that game. It'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be really good for both schools.
Good for the for the town and good for both schools. Good for the bowl. University of Utah. I think they just looked past the Pac-12 championship game and thought they were a foregone conclusion. They were going to be in the top 4 and just got hit in the mouth.
Can we talk about that game just first before we get to the bowl game? I think Oregon, and I said this on the show last week, I feel like Oregon was just sick and tired of hearing about Utah week. Nobody ever said, hey, if Oregon wins, they're in the Rose Bowl and they're going to be able to compete versus a pretty good quality team and all. Everyone was saying, man, if Utah wins, are they in the playoff? Are they not in the playoff? Is Oklahoma over Utah? How much does Utah have to win by? Do they have to win by 21, 14, 7? And Oregon's like, what the crap? We're here.
Yeah, they got to still get past us.
So then all of a sudden Oregon goes out there and just annihilates Utah. That game was not that close.
No.
Oregon did whatever they wanted to offensively.
Most of that game was going on while I was on a plane.
Yeah.
There was a guy sitting in front of me and just to the side so I could see through the cracks of the chairs. He was watching it. So we're on a flight back to Salt Lake City, so there were quite a few interested people on that flight. So some guy had some Wi-Fi, and he was watching it on his laptop. So I was kind of cheating and watching best I could. But, yeah, I think that the way that Oregon had Herbert running the ball a lot and something that he hadn't really done all year.
Yep.
And then that they were more physical on defense than I think Utah was expecting, and the Utes just got smacked around.
Yeah, you want to talk about not showing up to play.
Well, and I thought they made some adjustments in the second half. In the third quarter, it's like, okay, Utah's going to make this interesting.
But you can't spot a team, 17 or whatever was a point
20
lead?
points.
20 point. You can't do that. You can't do that against an Oregon football team.
You can't do it against a top team.
15, yeah. And I mean, Whittingham's gonna go to the Alamo Bowl, but I can tell you right now, do you remember in 2009 when Alabama lost in the SEC title game to Tim Tebow and the Gators, turned around and had to play Utah, and everyone said, well, dude, and Utah beat him pretty handily. 31-17 was your final there.
Yeah.
And everyone said, well, Alabama didn't want to be there. And I thought that was such bull crap. I thought that was such baloney. Utah just outplayed him, out-physicaled him, and that's the truth, and out-coached him. Mm-hmm. But I never believed the whole entire theory of, well, Alabama didn't want to be there. I wonder if Utah really wants to be in the Alamo Bowl. I mean, dude, you were that close from either being in the playoff or being in the granddaddy of them all in the Rose Bowl. And now you're in neither. And you're in the Alamo Bowl versus Texas, who's 7-5.
See, I actually think it's a good place for them to land. It obviously would have been better to be in the Rose Bowl. Obviously would have been better to be in the college football playoff.
You know, they got passed up, and so they were, in fact, there's a lot of Utah officials who were worried they were going to get passed up by the Alamo and that's going to end up in the Holiday Bowl.
Alamo Bowl has a nice payout.
Incredible good payout.
Nearly $8 million payout. That's not too shabby.
Yeah. What does the Holiday Bowl have?
Let's see.
Bowl. I'm trying to figure out why people didn't want to go to the Holiday Bowl. Why is this such a bad deal? I mean, you still get a pretty quality opponent, don't you? In the Holiday Bowl?
Holiday Bowl is just under 6.5. So Alamo Bowl is a better deal.
Who's in the Holiday Bowl? Do you know? I'm kind of throwing that on you. I apologize, but
I was instructed not to look at the bowls.
Oh, actually, yeah, don't. Never mind, because that's going to be part of the game. Good point. Thank you. Shut up.
Okay. But you know what? Texas, that's a named program.
Yeah.
It's a national program.
It's
a big payout. I think Utah wants to flex their muscles and say, look, that was a mistake.
Is Texas watered down, though, because of their lack of success in the last 2-3 years? Do you feel like that win over Texas would be like, yeah, we beat Texas, or is it like, Texas sucks now, like this doesn't even matter? I mean, is it watered down from what it used to be?
Maybe, perhaps. Yeah, they really haven't been in the national discussion for quite some time, but still, it's Texas. I mean, a lot of people know Texas football.
Yeah. And it looks good in front of recruits, I'd say. Maybe I'm crazy, but...
No, that's a great point, too. You get down into Texas and spend some time down there talking to some of the locals.
Oh, that's true.
Come home with a big fat paycheck.
That's kind of like a home game for the Longhorns, isn't it?
It's not too far away. It is a lot closer, obviously.
Than Utah.
Didn't they fire Todd Orlando? I think Todd Orlando, former Utah State defensive coordinator, was at Texas. If I'm not mistaken, he got let go.
Who's at LSU now?
That was Dave Aranda.
That's Dave Aranda? I can't keep up with them all, dude.
Yeah, another former defensive coordinator from Utah State.
Yeah. Sounds about right. So wait, because Charlie Strong's the coach, isn't he? Or is it somebody else?
Tom Herman.
Oh, is it Tom Herman? See, dude,
Strong was at South Florida and just got fired.
He did at South Florida?
Yes.
Oh, jeez. Dude, I'm telling you, like, and this is far off tangent side, but those, like, coaches who are small time and go big time, just figure out, dude, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. And I know Matt Wells that's only year one, so you got to give him a couple years to figure it out. But, you know, Red Raider fans kind of want to know what happened, you know? Gary Anderson's experiment with Wisconsin and Oregon State didn't go as planned. Charlie Strong definitely didn't go as planned at Texas and then at South Florida. And Todd Orlando, and then there's a couple other coaches, too, who went big time and just never, ever got the ball rolling. And didn't last long. But it makes you wonder why coaches like, I don't know. And I mean, we'll see what Lane Kiffin does at Ole Miss. But he couldn't do it at Tennessee.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he's matured, if he's
moved
on
but
to
the
a
only
different
person
plane
who I saw have success
mentally
was Chris Peterson. Chris Peterson, I thought, had genuine success at Washington.
Yeah.
They were in the playoff.
Totally shocked.
A year or two ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in the playoff. So, I mean, he's had success, and now he's going to call it, well, I think it's temporary.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be back somewhere doing something with somebody. Do you think he goes back to a non-Power 5 school?
Oh, man, I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't think so.
You think he stays in the Power 5?
I think he goes to a Power 5 program. Maybe not one that has a lot of attention on it.
Yeah. But what Power 5 program is that?
Oh, there's a fair number.
Okay. SEC conference or no? You think he stays away from
I
that
don't
whole?
know. I don't know if he'd go down in the
Me
South.
neither. I think it's a Big
I
Ten
just don't think that's his personality.
or an ACC, maybe.
Or another Pac-12 location.
Job's got to open up there though.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess was it Kevin Sumlin over at Arizona? He may not be lasting long.
Right.
It's incredible. It's just like the coaching, because you always think like, oh, the coaching carousel is going to be quiet this year. Well, what do you freaking know? We have like, 5 coaches out in the Mountain West? How many coaches do we have in the Mountain West right now? Bobo, Davey, UNLV doesn't have a coach?
Just those 3 that I'm aware of.
Okay. And then maybe Boise State, depending on Brian Harsin. Now, usually Brian Harsin says, look, I'm here to stay. I'm going to stay. This year he said, well, we just try to compete in a bowl game. We got a bowl game to play. You're like, you think about taking off there, big guy? Which, you know what? He's had a great run at it with Boise State. Why not? Why not? I think he'd be a good fit for a lot of different colleges. I think he'd be really, really, really good.
I'm just checking. Has Arkansas hired somebody?
No.
Oh, Sam Pittman.
Wait, what? Arkansas hired Sam Pittman?
Yes. Sam Pittman officially announced as head coach at Arkansas.
Was he at Georgia? Where was he?
I am pulling that up.
What about Missouri for Brian Harsin?
Because Brian Harsin had some time at Arkansas State, so I just wondered if maybe that would be a place that he would go.
Missouri? What about Brian Harsin in Missouri? That would actually be a really good fit.
Right, the way they like to do things there offensively could be interesting. But yeah, there's coaching changes, and some schools trying to make the decision who they find as a replacement quickly before the early signing period, so they don't lose recruits. There's some debate about whether that rush to sign somebody right away could be problematic. You potentially save this year's recruiting class, but if you rush it and you make the wrong choice, if you choose haste over finding the right fit, it could mess you up for longer term than just saving a recruiting class.
Well, and Brian, yeah. Hey, one thing I can't understand is that the rumor of Butch Jones going from SEC to Colorado State. There's nothing in my mind says that's a good fit. Nothing.
What I don't understand is how Colorado State keeps looking to the South to find their coaches.
That's a good point. Yeah, because Bobo was the OC at Georgia. Is he back, by the way? Is that heard
He's
right?
already got a new job. He's going to be the offensive coordinator at South Carolina.
So he's going to. So wait, that guy just got canned from Colorado State, or mutually departed.
He stepped away on his own accord.
Oh, well, wonderful for him. But then he ends up at South Carolina across the country as an OC.
Back in the South.
Good heck.
Yep. I'm a little surprised that Colorado State keeps looking that direction to find their head coaches. But it's still, I haven't really heard anything about UNLV or New Mexico. Any of the rumors that are going on there.
Oh, I don't think anybody wants to touch that bomb in New Mexico, though.
Utah did make a move today. I think it's in response to some of these openings to extend
Morgan
Scalley.
Which, dude, you knew that was coming because he was rumored. He was in the mill spinning like crazy. And Utah's like, you know what? It's time. It's a great move by Utah. It's a great move by Utah.
Yes.
He's a heck of a ball coach. And
do you think that puts him in as the coach in waiting?
For Whittingham?
Kind of category?
Yep. I think that's why they did it, too. I think that's why they did it. That's just my opinion. But yeah, it'd make complete sense if you were to ask me straight up.
Hey, this just in: Heisman finalists.
Oh,
heading to New York City.
Okay, can I guess really quickly?
Sure. There's 4 of them.
I'll go from least likely to least unlikely. Joe Burrow, LSU. He's my top candidate.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts, Oklahoma's been incredible.
Correct.
Who's the quarterback for Ohio State? Is it Fields?
Justin Fields.
Yeah, is he on that list?
Yes.
Doggone it. From Georgia.
Nope.
No. And then the receiver from Oklahoma. I don't remember his name.
Nope.
Really?
He's not a running back.
No joke?
He's not a quarterback. He's a defensive player.
What? There isn't a defensive player on this thing?
Chase Young at Ohio State.
No kidding.
Yes.
All right.
I think that's great. He
Good.
definitely deserves to be there.
Yeah.
He is a difference maker on the field,
No
without
joke.
question.
So Burrow, Fields, Hurts, and then 3 quarterbacks and a defensive guy.
Right. 2 players from Ohio State are
Wow.
finalists.
I think Joe Burrow wins it running away as of right now. I think he's just been incredible.
I agree. I don't know if it'll be unanimous, but he'll run away with it.
Sure. Hey, speaking of quarterbacks, we got to talk about this situation. I don't know if you want to do it next hour with our own quarterback here and the rumor mill that's hitting around, and it's starting to pick up steam for whatever reason. We'll have to hit that up sometime. And by the way, we still need to talk about, look, my Patriots have a serious issue right now, and we're in the midst of a controversy. It's not even a controversy. But your Cubs, Chris Bryant, saying goodbye?
What? I haven't heard this.
Oh, well, you might want to stay sitting down and bring a change of diaper.
I guess I've been out of the area a little bit. I've been disconnected, trying to get caught up. So a lot of things we still need to get caught up on. We'll figure what that is. Top 25 polls are out for
I don't
basketball.
want to talk about this. I'm not talking about
We'll
it.
update that. And next hour, we'll hear a lot more from Gary Anderson about the bold announcement. Utah State going to Frisco, Texas, to take on Kent State. And the rumors are starting to heat up about Utah State's quarterback and what he might decide to do next year. So we'll discuss all that coming up on the Full Court Press.
The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools, the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Eric Frandsen, Ajay Salvesen. Just saw conflicting reports here. Well, this is going to be an interesting discussion next hour about Jordan Love.
Would you? I'll save the discussion for next hour because there's so many questions I want to ask you and just get your thoughts on where you stand. I guess just in a moral stance in this regard of people spreading this kind of stuff, if it's true or not, why would they do it? But the fact that it's picking up steam's got to scare you to death. That's what scares me the most right now.
Potentially.
Hey, speaking of rumor mill, Chris Bryant.
Yeah.
Maybe there is rumor. I don't know how thrilled you're going to be about this because I know you said you've been on the islands of San Diego, but that they could be facing needing to trade Chris Bryant. Philadelphia has became the strongest suitor into that mix. Atlanta's been one of those teams. Houston has been one of those teams. They can't afford it though. And the Yankees have been one of those teams as well. You are a diehard Cubs guy. You have seen the Cubs through their good and bad times. What is your thoughts when you hear Chris Bryant and trade rumor?
I clench up a little. I think he's a great young player. He hasn't been in the league a long time. Granted, when he first came into the league, he was outstanding.
Yeah.
His second year, he was still really pretty good. This last year, he was okay. But I think I'd be worried about trading him after just one mediocre season.
Yeah. Especially to Philly.
Yeah. But that being said, the Cubs really need pitching help. If they can get a lot out of him and can get some really good pitching help in exchange, it might be uncomfortable, but it might be worth it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd hate to see him go because he was the face of the franchise.
I thought he was going to be the face of the franchise for a long time. I didn't think it'd have this short of an ending.
Yeah, I know. I agree. By the way, the winter meetings were going on or are going on in San Diego.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, we drove by the hotel. Saw big signs like, "Oh, should we stop in and see what's going on?" Top 25 polls are out for college basketball. Last week, Utah State was still in the top 25 after losing a close game on the road to a very good team. But the AP voters didn't really like Utah State, apparently, because they dropped them 10 spots in the poll after the loss.
After an 8-point loss with two guys who are out.
Right, with your starting center and the backup center out. And then
that tells
it completely fell out of the coaches' poll.
And I talked about this last week, but that tells you just how ignorant the AP poll is to watching all of basketball. That they pick and choose what teams they want to watch and say, "Yep, that one works for me." Now, I texted an AP voter and I said, "Did you drop them 10 spots in your poll?" And he said, "No, I dropped them 2."
So this past week, Utah State wins 2 conference games. One game by double digits. Another game in overtime by 7.
Against a team that you're always it's just a rivalry that is.
Right, they play well.
Got to understand
against
that.
Fresno State. And Utah State is not seen in either poll.
Yep.
They win 2 games and they fall out of the poll. In their place, San Diego State creeps into the top 25 in the AP at number 25. In the coaches, they come in at number 24. But there's still teams with 3 losses that are in the AP top 25.
Villanova's one of them, aren't they?
Villanova has 2 losses. Seton Hall has 3.
Oh, jeez.
North Carolina and Michigan State both have 3. So Utah State is effectively 26th in the AP, 28th in the coaches.
So they get St. Catherine tomorrow. And if you want to know about St. Catherine, I'll tell you this. They have 2 guys on their team that you need to remember. And I'm not even joking when I tell you this. I am flat out dead serious. 2 guys. One's name is Jesus. The other name is Gabriel. I'm not even kidding you either. That is exactly what their name is.
Good time of the year to be playing those guys.
Could you imagine? I mean, just like the TV play-by-play call from the Mountain West Network tomorrow. No, I'm not going to do it. Never mind. I don't want
to. But San Diego State, good for them. For me, it's good to see another Mountain West school in the top 25.
By the way, if you're an Aggie fan, you want them to be undefeated coming into our house on January 4th. I would love it. Be undefeated coming into our place. What I don't like is their student section tweeting at us, "Hey, regular season rankings over preseason rankings. Am I right, USU basketball?" I would be like, you know what? Come play us on January 4th and see if you're saying the same damn thing.
Why are you saying that now?
Yeah, shut up. Unreal. Keep your mouth quiet.
I mean, they lost 1 game on the road to a very good team with their 2 centers out. It's not like they've lost 4 games and they're just atrocious.
Oh, according to San Diego State, they are.
By the way, I didn't mention this earlier. Air Force in the top 25 in both coaches and AP in football.
By the way, good for them.
Yeah, good for Air Force. That's just well-deserved. They had a great
year. They earned it, too.
Yes.
They really did.
Yes, they did.
That 1 loss to Boise. Oh. I'm telling you, they're going to throttle Washington State. They're going to throttle Dude, I'm telling you, no Pac-12 team can withstand that whole rushing attack. That's just a different... And you can't copycat that, right? You can't use that in practice squad and say, "Hey, I want you to run it just like this." You can't.
But Washington State will never be out of it.
That's
because
true.
How much they pass.
Yes.
How prolific they are in their passing game.
I just can't wait to hear Mike Leach talk about Air Force.
All right, some additional thoughts before we send it off to the next hour. And don't forget, we'll discuss more and we'll hear more from Gary Anderson about the bowl invitation to go play Kent State in Frisco, Texas. And some more things about Utah State basketball, all coming up next here in the Full Court.
Talking the sports you care about. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen here on the Full Court Press, 106.9 FM, 1390
Welcome back,
AM
by the
fan.
way. It is so good. Dude, I'm telling you, I had no voice by Friday.
You were burning the candle at both ends.
Calling a Mountain Crest game, then doing the morning show with McCall, and then turning around doing the Full Court. I was done. I was just done.
I imagine you were pretty fried by the end of the week.
Literally and emotionally.
San Diego State with victories over Colorado State, a big blowout victory on the road, and then a last-second shot to beat San Jose by 2, pushes them up ahead of Utah State in the AP and coaches polls. Granted, San Diego State is still undefeated to this point. I think they should be ranked. Should Utah State be unranked? No, Utah State should also be ranked. They did nothing to warrant dropping completely out of the top 25 in both polls.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do believe they've been playing with fire a little bit. They've had a lot of games that have been really close, and to some teams that shouldn't be that close. Utah State has some things they need to fine-tune and figure out, or they're going to have a few more losses pile up here over the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, they got a tough schedule.
It's a pretty tough stretch.
Yep, they do.
Tomorrow night's game notwithstanding. But I like that the Nemiashketa was able to get in some game action on Saturday.
10 minutes, 9 seconds, and 6 points on 6 free throws.
He'll probably get some game action again tomorrow. Then he'll probably get a lot more game action on Saturday. So he needed to get some rhythm and get some game action before. It's a big game on Saturday against BYU.
I think they work him in just a little bit to get them ready for BYU. That's what I think. They work him in a little bit tomorrow, get his legs ready, get ready for BYU. They need him for BYU against Tilly Childs. They need him, or else they're in trouble.
Yes, I agree with that. Coming up next hour, we'll hear from Gary Anderson, his thoughts about the bowl invitation to go play Kent State in Frisco, Texas. And we'll continue to discuss this. Seems to be an ongoing debate on Twitter this afternoon about Jordan Love and his intentions and his decisions that are facing him coming up after the regular season, after the bowl game this next week. So we'll hear more about it come next hour.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The college football playoff is set. Number 1 LSU takes on number 4 Oklahoma. Number 2 Ohio State plays number 3 Clemson. Basically the usual suspects, with LSU representing the SEC instead of Alabama. Coming into the final weekend, the only real question was who was number 4. With 1 loss, it was likely an easy choice to take the Sooners over other teams with 2 losses. For now, the committee can breathe a sigh of relief. That doesn't mean the season's been perfect. Saturday nights felt a little flat throughout most of the fall. Only a handful of teams have a real chance to reach the Final Four. The system basically worked this year, but it's far from perfect. The upcoming playoff matchup should be fun, especially Ohio State versus Clemson. I'm not sure the excitement level is quite where it should be for a sport that should be thrilling every season. And that could mean changes to the college football playoff are possible as we try to get this perfect. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.